Just tell us where you're heading. You've taken you've sort of started your journey. Just talk us through the journey and where you expect this to sort of go.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. We are currently in international waters in the Mediterranean Sea, heading towards Gaza to deliver the humanitarian aid that we have on each vessel that is in the flotilla currently. We started from Barcelona. We were joined by boats from Tunis, Italy, and Greece. And altogether, we are on our way. But of course, during this voyage, we've been attacked. They tried to stop us many times. We've been attacked in Tunis twice, and we were attacked 11 times close to Greece in international waters. However, we are still determined to break the illegal siege on Gaza and to deliver the humanitarian aid.
Yeah, I've heard about these attacks. When you say you've been attacked, could you just describe exactly what has happened?
When we were preparing the boats in Tunis, we have two lead ships, which is the Alma and the Family. They two drones released a bomb on top of the vessel in Tunis. Started a huge fire. We were able to extinguish the fire, and the vessels did not have a damage, so we continued with these vessels. And when we were close to Greece in international waters, we detected 15 drones throughout the whole evening. And then our VHF, our communication was jammed with ABBA songs, and this is when we understood something is going to happen because of our experience. I was on the Madeleine. And before any attack happened, our communication was always jammed. And in the legacy of the flotilla, this has always been the same pattern. And a few minutes later, the first bomb was dropped on one of the sailing vessels. And every 8 to sometimes 15 minutes, but then it got even shorter, the time between the bombings. It went down to every 7 minutes. A bomb was released from a small drone that flew at a very low altitude on top of the vessels.
When you say bombs, is that sort of what kind of bomb? Is it falling into the water to create fear, or are people getting injured in the flotilla?
Well, there were sound bombs, and then there were explosives. And they were all different from each other. We couldn't understand. We are a nonviolent mission. We have no knowledge of weapons or military. So the next day, we actually found some of the explosives, some of the remains of the explosives on these vessels. And there were wires, plastic, I mean, all sorts of things that we didn't understand ourselves either. But these explosives, they caused fire to the sails of the vessels.
Yeah, Yasmin, we know what happened to the flotilla that Greta was in. It was intercepted in international waters. Do you believe that something very similar will happen and you'll all be deported?
Well, I was on the vessel with Greta, and we are again on the same vessel. When we were intercepted in international waters and brought to Israel against our will and then imprisoned, this is against international law and against maritime law. So it can happen. Looking at the threats of Israel for the past days and weeks, but we have to question all of our governments. We have people from almost 50 countries here, and we expect our governments to question this way of handling a humanitarian aid mission, because we are acting within the law. It is Israel that's acting outside of the law, and if this happens again, this will be a breach of international law. And if we pay attention to what Israel is saying? They're saying they're coming with full force, and this time they will use heavy weapons. This is not just a threat to us, this is a threat to the whole world, because again, it's a breach of international law, and it would be a war crime.
Yasemin, what do you say to those critics who say this is performative and there are other ways to draw attention to getting aid into Gaza, and that we've seen these flotillas attempt to do this before, it hasn't worked, so why would you do it again?
I believe that we have to continue trying because we are living in a world, unfortunately, that is accepting genocide, that's accepting watching children being starved, children being bombed into pieces. And if we give up as human beings, I mean, where is this world going? And we will have to continue trying, and just like the demonstrations around the world, facing repression and police brutality. I think our duty is to challenge this, challenge what our leaders are deciding, and we have a duty all together collectively to uphold international law and human rights. Um, so even if we are being stopped, we are sending a message out to the world. This is not just symbolic, this is political. And I think the world is receiving our message. When we were sailing with the Madeleine, there are millions around the world finally starting to understand that there is something going on in Gaza, even the ones that looked away. We've been contacted by thousands of people from around the world, and you can clearly see this by the people that signed up to the Global Sumut Flotilla. We had 30,000 signups from around the world, and I think the people around the world ask the question: why are civilians doing this? Why are civilians trying to break the siege? It's because our governments are not doing this. We're talking about an illegal siege of 18 years. And during the genocide, what we've been seeing, but what Palestinians have been experiencing, is a siege on top of a siege. Israel has threatened the whole world that they will starve Palestinians, that they will mass slaughter on 8th of October. And they did exactly that. And no one, literally no government, has stopped them. There's no accountability, there's no condemnation. And this needs to end. This needs to stop.
Yasemin Ajaj, thank you very much for joining us.